Ba, beep, ba, boop, ba, 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 beep, boom. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Storytime Quickies of the Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. Tonight's story is tale number 39, The Elves. Now, this story is a very short one. It's only 2 pages, two and a half pages. So it's not that long. Grab your snackies, grab your blankies, get comfy because it's time for a quick story. Um, Also, before I start the video, if you are watching from YouTube, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe, comment down below. It helps a long way with the algorithms, especially for this story time playlist. After the video, you're gonna see a playlist pop up right on this side. You could check out some of the previous vids as well. Channel will pop up on this side, so you could follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. You could even go in and check out some of my other gaming content because I do stream on Twitch, and you can catch these Storytime Quickies live between 9:30 and 10:30 most nights. I do have my schedule posted down below, and on my Twitter, I post every night that I go live. So go follow on that as well. All right, let's get started into this tale. Tale number 39, The Elves. First story. A shoemaker, by no fault of his own, had become so poor that at last he had nothing left but leather for one pair of shoes. So in the evening he cut out the shoes which he had wished to begin to make the next evening. He cut out the shoes which he wished to begin to make the next morning. And as he had a good conscience, he laid down quietly in his bed, commended himself to God, and fell asleep. In the morning, after he had said his prayers and was just going to sit down to work, the two shoes stood quite finished on his table. He was astounded, and knew not what to say to it. He took the shoes in his hand to observe them closer, and they were so neatly made that there was not one bad stitch in them, just as if they were intended as a masterpiece. Soon after, a buyer came in, and as the shoes pleased him so well, he paid more for them than was customary. And with the money, the shoemaker was able to purchase leather for 2 pairs of shoes. He cut them out at night, and next morning was about to set to work with fresh courage. But he had no need to do so, for when he got up, they were already made, and they found buyers who gave him money enough to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes. The following morning, too, he found the 4 pairs made, and so it went on constantly. What he cut out in the evening was finished by the morning, so that he soon had his honest independence again, and at last became a wealthy man. Now it happened that one evening not long before Christmas, when the man had been cutting out, he said to his wife before going to bed, "What do you think of staying up tonight to see who it is that lends us this helping hand?" The woman liked the idea, and lighted a candle, and then they hid themselves in a corner of the room behind some clothes which were hanging up there, and watched. When it was midnight, 2 pretty little naked men came, sat down by the shoemaker's table, took all the work which was cut out before them, and began to stitch, and sew, and hammer so skillfully and so quietly with their little fingers that the shoemaker could not turn away his eyes for astonishment. They did not stop until all was done, and stood finished on the table, and they ran quickly away. Next morning the woman said, "The little men have made us rich, and we must show that we are grateful for it. They run about so, and have nothing on, and must be cold. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will make them little shirts and coats, and vests and trousers, and knit both of them a pair of stockings. And you too, make them two little pairs of shoes. The man said, I shall be very glad to do it. And one night, when everything was ready, they laid their presents all together on the table instead of the cut out leather, and then concealed themselves to see how the little men would behave. At midnight, they came bounding in and wanted to get to work at once. But as they did not find any leather cut out, but only the pretty little articles of clothing, they were at first astonished, and then they showed intense delight. They dressed themselves rapidly, putting the pretty clothes on, and singing, Now we are boys so fine to see, we should no longer cobblers be. Then they danced and skipped and leapt over chairs and benches. At last they danced out the door. From that time forth they came no more. But as long as the shoemaker lived, all went well with him, and all his undertakings prospered. Hmm, that's a good first story. Second story. There was once a poor servant girl who was industrious, cleaning, and swept the house every day, emptied her sweepings on the great heap in front of the door. One morning, when she was just going back to her work, she found a letter on this heap, and as she could not read, she put her broom in the corner and took the letter to her master and mistress. It was an invitation from the elves, who asked the girl to hold a child for them at its christening to be its godmother. The girl did not know what to do, but at length, after much persuasion, and as they told her that it was not right to refuse an invitation of this kind, she consented. Then three elves came and led her to a hollow mountain, where the little folks lived. Everything there was small, but more elegant and beautiful than can be described. The baby's mother lay in the bed, a black ebony ornament with pearls coverlids and the coverlids were embroidered with gold. The cradle was of ivory, the bath of gold. The girl stood as godmother, and then wanted to go home again, but the little elves begged her to stay 3 days with them. So she stayed, and passed the time in pleasure and gaiety, and the little folks did all they could to make her happy. At last, she set out on her way home, after they filled her pockets quite full of money, and led her out of the mountain again. When she got home, she wanted to begin her work, and took the broom, which was still standing in the corner, in her hand and began to sweep. Then some strangers came out of the house, who asked her who she was, and what business she had there. And she had not, as she thought, been gone 3 days with the little men in the mountain, but 7 years, and in the meantime her former masters had died. Sad story, but I mean, she got paid. Third story. There's three versions of this story. The Elves. Third story. A certain mother's child had been taken away out of its cradle by the elves, and a changeling with a large head, staring eye, which would do nothing but eat and drink, laid in its place. In her trouble, she went to her neighbor and asked her advice. The neighbor said that she was to carry the changeling into the kitchen, set it down on the hearth, light a fire, and boil some water in 2 eggshells, which would make the changeling laugh, and if he laughed, that would be the end of him. The woman did everything that her neighbor bade her, but she put the eggshells with water on the fire. The imp said, I am as old now as the Wester forest, but never yet have I seen anyone boil anything in an eggshell. And he began to laugh at it. While he was laughing, suddenly came a host of little elves who brought the right child, and set it down on the hearth, and took the changeling away with them. The That's it for the third story. That was super, super short, man. Holy moly. 3 versions of the elves. Quite little mischievous characters. So in the first one, oops, notification. So in the first one, you have these elves that are cobblers that are helping this shopkeep make shoes. Very industrious workers. And in the second, they're very mischievous, tricking a girl into 7 years of becoming a godmother, essentially. 3 years to her, but 7 altogether. Quite strange. And then the third one is more of a story about changelings than elves altogether. But interesting the idea of the changeling though, for sure. It's a good little tale. 3 different versions all in one. You guys got a 3 for 1 tonight. All right, and that ends the tale 39. The Elves. 3 iterations. For tomorrow's tale, we're gonna have tale 40. The Robber Bridegroom. Robber? Robber, right? The Robber Bridegroom. All right. So look forward to that tomorrow. If you're watching from YouTube, again, like, subscribe, comment. If you want to watch me live, I do this stuff on twitch.tv/stigmaxoxo. Go check me out live. I usually post up and do these story times sometime around 9:30 to 10:30. But best way to know is make sure you follow. Hit the notification button. It'll let you know when I go live. All right? So, as always, go like, follow, subscribe. The playlists are over here. You can check out some of the older videos. Go check that out, please. And until next time, I'll see you on another Storytime Quickies. Bye!